But first and foremost, how is everyone feeling out there? Please smash that like and subscribe button on your way in, as well as our brand new channel, as the second stream will be happening very soon for you guys. London is ours, head to head with an Arsenal fan, West Ham fan, Chelsea fan. We'll be debating all the various topics surrounding all of our clubs every single week throughout the season as well. The support on that channel so far has been absolutely overwhelming, and I can't thank you guys enough. And the Tottenham Army, the We Are Tottenham Army, is definitely the most prominent fan base on the channel at this moment in time, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think Nicky was already getting a bit frustrated. I know there's a lot of Tottenham fans in the chat today. He's got to bring his A game, so I've got to make sure it stays that way. It's got to be Tottenham dominated. Come on, people.
But look, let's get into the Tottenham update to start with. We're going to talk about Sonny first and foremost. And Matt Law says that Tottenham would miss out on as much as 75% of their fee for playing in Seoul if Son was not part of the touring squad. It is believed the fee would have halved were he to travel and not play in the game versus Arsenal and Newcastle. Sources believe the key player clause meant that it was virtually impossible for Tottenham to even consider selling Son before the Asia tour and the game in South Korea. Son left teammates and staff under the impression that he was ready to leave Tottenham at the end of last season after winning the Europa League, and there has been some suggestions that he is happy to stay till at least January. Look, we saw Sonny on the weekend in the friendly, looked in discomfort with his back, people reading into his body language and everything like that. He just didn't seem too happy on the pitch on the weekend. How do you see this kind of situation playing out?
It's hard to say. Obviously, when it comes to the pre-season, we know that he had this contractual agreement that he had to play. So, of course, we're going to Korea mainly because we know that Son is probably not going to be here for too much longer, and it's the club's last chance to get as much out of our relationship with Korea due to Son's kind of status there. So that obviously makes a lot of sense. That I'm sure the kind of broadcasting deals and all the deals we have going out there and all the money Tottenham being paid, the Korean fans want to see Son when we're there. So I'm sure, I don't know whether Tottenham will be wrapping him up in cotton wool in the Luton game, making sure he doesn't get injured. It's one thing doing it for a final, but doing it for the pre-season tour, probably more important for Tottenham to do it for that. So makes a lot of sense that those deals are dependent on Son. So of course we heard he wasn't going to leave before the pre-season tour. I reckon maybe when it comes to the point you said about the report, that Son gave the impression he was looking to leave. Did he think he was going to get more offers from better teams? Did he think more teams were going to be in for him from top 5 leagues? Because I do think he wants to stay in Europe. I'm not certain he is ready for a move to Saudi or MLS just yet, albeit maybe he's more open to it now than he was before. I don't think he's ready for it. I think he still feels like he's got, a few more years in his legs at the top level. So maybe the offers haven't come in and he's thinking, is Tottenham just, at the moment, as much as I'm ready for a new challenge, I'm not ready at the moment to be going to one of these leagues where it's not as competitive and not as high level. He still wants to be playing at the top level. So maybe he feels like Tottenham is his best bet for doing that. So maybe that's why he's reconsidering. Maybe Tottenham is my, I want to remain here. I don't want to go to one of these leagues just yet. And maybe he's had a chat with Frank and he's thinking, okay, I'm happy to stay for a bit longer. But is that kind of a mentality? Look, I don't doubt Son's professionalism, his mentality, but you kind of want him to stay here because he wants to stay here rather than because he doesn't have a better offer, if that's the case. So that's obviously not the best situation if his head is already thinking, I want to leave. But we know Son's a legend. We know if he stays, I'm sure he'll get locked back in. But right now he seems to be just a bit off the pace. Maybe he had that injury on the weekend and all that kind of stuff. But I'm obviously not going to be unhappy with Son staying here, but you want him to stay here because he's believes in the project and all that kind of stuff rather than because he hasn't had any offers. I think that's kind of how I feel about the Son situation. But yeah, I do kind of leaning towards he is probably more likely to stay now because I don't know if we're going to get any offers from any top 5 leagues. which he's going to be happy with, I think.
Yeah. I'm just undecided on this. I really am. Me personally, I really want him to stay, and I think him staying for one more season would be the benefit to us. I think that'd be the benefit to him. I think we don't have. Well, we do. We got Romero, we got Maddison, and Vicario, who form part of the leadership group. But Son was like the figurehead of that, wasn't he, in terms of the leader of this club? And I feel like it will do him and particularly the club the world of good to have him around next season. And I think that Frank can get the best out of him. It's just whether Son still wants to be here next season or not. That's what it boils down to. And if his fitness can hold up. Just seems like for the last 6 months, something wrong keeps going on with his fitness in various different parts of his body. So is that age catching up to him? I don't know. He's not even that old, like in terms of that. So I am concerned about his fitness, to be honest. And if we do have other players that can take a burden off him, like Matisse Tell can, then maybe we can manage his minutes massively next season and he'll still be a big service to the club.
Yeah, for sure. So I still think he's got a lot to give, but it's about what he truly wants and about what offers he gets and about the role Frank sees him playing. I kind of feel it's more likely he stays than not, but I also just, it's not great that he's kind of looking like he's ready to leave and circumstances outside of kind of his control might lead him to stay. Is that a great situation to be in?
No.
Probably not.
No. Look, if he's ready to leave and he wants to go and move on, then that's fair enough. Like, he's done so much for this football club. He goes with my blessing. Still absolutely love the guy. One of my favourite Spurs players of all time. So that'd be the situation. And it's just something that we're going to have to deal with in terms of losing one of our most favourite players and our best player in the Premier League era. But if he wants to stay, then I think he can be a really valuable asset here.
But I'm talking about him wanting to leave, but not forced to stay, but him wanting to leave, but him rather staying with the offers on the table rather than leaving. Is that a great situation? You know what I mean?
Look, it's not a great situation, but I think he's professional enough and loves Spurs enough to not kind of even subconsciously down tools. So I think the only worry in that situation is the fitness.
Yeah. I agree with you. And I don't think Son's that kind of character who's ever going to down tools or anything. I mean, look, we know he loves Spurs, but sometimes it's like...
It's a subconscious thing.
Yeah, and that's just a bit. I'm a bit worried about that. It's not like he won't give 100%. I'm sure he will, and I'm sure he'll probably still be captain and all these different things. But it's almost like if you're already thinking of leaving, and you're not 100% like believing you're in the right place, will that feed into his performances at some level?
But if the offers aren't on the table, the offers aren't on the table, and then
Agreed.
maybe in his mind. The kind of shift in the way he thinks, because he'll start to think like, well, Tottenham is the best place to be now.
I agree. I think it's just a minor concern. It's just something that's there, but I don't think it's really a massive issue. But it's just not a perfect scenario, put it that way. But I think by and large, I don't really have an issue with that being the situation. But it is a concern.
Yeah. Let's move on and let's talk about Alejandro Garnacho again, as James Ducker from The Telegraph says that Garnacho suitors believe he could be available for around £40 million. Spurs, Villa and Chelsea are all thought to be monitoring his situation, with the player preferring to stay in the Premier League. We've spoken about Garnacho so many times now over the course of the summer and the back end of last season. He is a player of high ability. 21 years of age, he's shown in the Premier League what he can do. Can be frustrating at times in terms of his finishing ability, but still got a fair amount of goal contributions last season. And I think he showed in the Europa League final against us when he came on. He did kind of swing the game in Manchester United's favour and started attacking us ferociously, and he looked really dangerous, and I think he can do that. But there is always a question mark about attitude and that kind of stuff. I think he thinks he's a lot better and bigger than he is, which shouldn't be the case at the age of 21 when he's just trying to make a name for himself. But I think I've always said no to Garnacho, but I think from a purely footballing perspective, I don't think it would be the worst signing in the world, but it's just a lot of question marks about the attitude.
Well, to be fair, I think for 40 million, it's not a bad price, but I still would rather avoid him. I don't think we need that kind of attitude in the dressing room. Someone who's going to be kicking him up fast because he only got 20 minutes in a game. You should be looking to impact the match as well as possible, not start complaining and kicking the door down because you believe you should be getting more minutes, especially when as good as he's been, which he's been decent. It's not exactly like he's blown everyone away and he's clearly their best player. You know, he's also been frustrating. So I think Garnacho as a player purely is pretty good. He's not bad. I don't think he's like a world beater, but I think he's shown at this age he can be a pretty decent Premier League winger, which is good.
If Son was to go though, he becomes our best left winger.
Not necessarily. I don't see him being much better than Tell.
I mean, he's shown much more than Tell.
Yeah, I mean, Tell's a bit younger, but I think Tell's better in front of goal than Garnacho, in my opinion. I think
but in terms of like what we've seen from both of them in the Premier League,
we've just seen more from Garnacho. He's been there longer, but I think I don't necessarily think when I look at both players, I think Tell's worse than Garnacho.
I think Garnacho is at this moment in time, he's shown a lot more than Tell.
Yeah, because Tell's been here 6 months.
But even what Tell's done at Bayern Munich, I think Garnacho's done more at Manchester United. What Tell's done at Bayern Munich.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I just think Garnacho's been used more. He's been relied on more. But I think when I look at both players, I don't see a much better player of Garnacho. I think they're fairly similar in terms of maybe what's called ability, in my opinion. Maybe look, Garnacho's had more games. He's probably had more starts. He's maybe a bit ahead of his development, but I don't think Garnacho's that much better than Tell, in my opinion. Does he? But if Son leaves, does he become our best left winger? Maybe, but I don't think it's like massively. And I think I'd rather sign someone a bit more established than go for Garnacho. For me, I'm not massively excited about bringing someone like him in.
Yeah, look, I agree with you in terms of the attitude, and he would have to there'd have to be a massive shift in terms of his mentality if he was to come here and to be a success here. But I think from purely a footballing standpoint, and if you put that stuff to one side, I think he can be a success here. And at the age of 21, you know, the attitude and application can change. And if you get a manager that believes in you and kind of tries to get the best or does get the best out of you, then I think this guy can be a very good player. He can be. Yeah,
can be. But I'm passing on this one for me.
Let's move on to Ilya Zabarnyi. Matt Law says that Tottenham have made checks on Bournemouth Zabarnyi. However, PSG are believed to be front runners to sign the player. And Fabrizio Romano says that there is nothing concrete between Tottenham and Zabarnyi right now. It's PSG who are pushing. I mean, we've heard about this PSG and Zabarnyi thing for a while, and nothing seems to be progressing on it.
Yeah, and there seems to be a bit of a stalemate apparently with the price and whatnot. So seems as though there may be an opportunity to get him. But again, are Tottenham going to spend what PSG aren't without selling Romero? So that Romero situation will have to be sorted before we go for Zabarnyi.
Yeah.
So again, at the moment, Romero doesn't seem close to leaving. So I don't think we're going to be close to signing him.
Yeah.
That's the reality.
Yeah, I completely agree. And another centre-back that we're linked with is Mark Gehi. Matt Law says that Tottenham do retain an interest in Mark Gehi, although it is not certain the club will make another bid. Spurs have not yet ruled out making another offer, as the defence, as the centre of defence is a position they are looking at. So, I mean, if Matt Law is saying that Spurs are still looking at central defenders, surely that does suggest that there's something going on in the background for Romero.
I think they
or is it just contingency?
Yeah, that's what I kind of feel. I think there is a chance he leaves, as I've always said. I don't think that we've heard the last of that deal. And in the event that Atletico do stump up the money, we got to be ready, don't we? And there's no, you know, we can't just assume they're not going to spend the money and just act as if we're going to go ahead with Romero unless that is the plan. If we're open to selling Romero, we had the right price, and you've got to be prepared for that. And being prepared for that means starting talks or at least sounding out Guehi and the likes of Zabarnyi. That's the right thing to do. Obviously, it's also not a fantastic situation to be doing that while Romero's still at the club. But I think the reality is, if he's not going to sign a contract, you have to be ready for that, and that's what we're doing. I don't think where he comes, I would love it, but I think if Liverpool's serious about it, he goes there. But I think we'll have to wait and see with Romero. At the moment, at the current time of recording, he's not close to leaving. The latest reports are it's gone very cold with Atletico, and they're pulling out. So, that's the current situation. But you've got to be kind of ready for any day they could come back into negotiations, can't they, and start and maybe rethink their situation.
It is worrying though, isn't it? Like, a high percentage of these new rumours over the past couple of days have all been centre-backs.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like, is there no smoke without fire here? Or is there smoke without any fire? Because, like, we all know the Romero situation, and we just keep getting linked to centre-back, 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 centre-back. Is there more to it than we're led to believe with Romero?
I think there probably is, to be honest. I think there probably is. I think as I've always said, I don't think we've heard the last of that deal. I think there's a good chance he still leaves because he's not signing that contract. So I do think Tottenham are going to be open to selling him. Whatever they say publicly about he's not for sale and rebuffing offers. I think if Romero's had that conversation with Frank and he's like, look, if Atletico come in, I want to go there. I think we're going to be open to selling him for the right price. And if they do stump up that fee, then that's maybe why we're looking at these centre-backs. Maybe we got a word that there's a chance they could be coming back in for him. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But I think there is a good chance that this happens and we have to look for another centre-back.
Do you reckon there's a case that, there might be something already done in the background? They're just waiting for Spurs to push through a big centre-back to appease the fans kind of thing?
There's a chance. We know Ange said he knew for a while that Kane was leaving before he actually left, and he ended up leaving on the eve of the season. So, but he said all the business that he did in the summer was in view of Kane leaving. So, is there a chance that's happening here? I can't say for sure, but yeah, you've got to say if there's any truth to these centre-back links, and we're serious about. I mean, look, at the end of the day, Romano's saying there's no talks with Zabarnyi at the moment, and the latest thing with Gray is we're interested, but we're not sure if we're going to make a bid. So it doesn't sound like we're serious about these centre-backs, does it, at the moment? Yeah, I mean, who was it the other day that broke the Zabarnyi news to Spurs? Because they were saying that Spurs are making quite... I can't remember Luca Bendoni?
Oh, DiMarzio, yeah. Okay, fair enough. Let's talk about João Palhinha now, which is the kind of big news of the day. First of all, Graham Bailey says that Tottenham are working on a potential bid for Bayern Munich midfielder João Palhinha. Spurs feel that he'll be a good fit for Thomas Frank. Bayern Munich demands 30 million for João Palhinha. Tottenham is considering making an offer of just 20 million, as the player will demand a contract of at least 3 years. Jack Pitbrook says that Spurs' preference would be to be a loan move for João Palhinha rather than a permanent deal. And Alistair Gold says that Tottenham would need to get rid of at least one central midfielder out. They need to get at least one central midfielder out the door before pushing through any interest in Bayern Munich's João Palhinha. He says that Spurs do have other targets they're looking for at central midfield as well. How do you feel about a loan move for João Palhinha?
I think a loan move makes more sense than a permanent, because we've obviously got the likes of Gray coming through. Potentially, I think if Wharton isn't available this summer, maybe next summer he will be. So you've got to think about that as well. If that's a long-term target, and obviously if you sign Palhinha on like a 3-4 year deal, that obviously you're kind of locked in with him. Whereas a loan in the short term, if that's the kind of way you want to go about it, is probably preferable given his age. I really like João Palhinha. I think he's better than our current DMs in Bissouma and Bentancur and Gray in terms of that defensive side of the game. I think he offers so much there. You saw what he was like for Fulham, phenomenal kind of in the midfield for them at the time. Hasn't worked out at Bayern. I think a big reason why it hasn't worked out is because on the ball he's not particularly impressive. He's not terrible, but he's just not as good as their other midfielders. And as much as he's very good defensively, he's not like an unbelievable technician. He's maybe lagging behind a bit on that front. So when you play for Bayern Munich and you have a lot of the ball and you're asked to be very good technically and that kind of stuff, I think he's been found wanting a bit from that side of the game. So that's maybe the reason they want to let him go. I feel
Why
like
did they sign him in the first place then? Because it was still company that signed him.
Yeah, and maybe they thought he was better technically than he was. I don't, that's maybe the feeling I get, but you would have thought scouting would have picked up.
He has also had a lot of injury problems this season. He's missed 17 games just through injury.
That's also a big problem. So I think he improves us. Is he the midfielder that we necessarily need? I think you can look at it both ways. If you look at just a player who improves on the defensive side, is a bit of a beast, then yeah, he does that. Is he a guy who improves kind of the passing ability of our central midfielders, which I do think we need? A bit of a deep line playmaker. He's not that. So if Frank is looking for a deep line playmaker, then he's got the wrong guy. But if he's looking just for an upgrade in the destroy department, then I think Palhinha fits that bill.
Yeah, I kind of feel like with Palhinha, I think it'd be a really good deal to do because it is a profile that we just don't have in the squad, and you want to stock up with many different profiles for any kind of system that Frank wants to play. And I think Palhinha in some games probably won't be needed, and we want someone dictating the tempo from deep. But then in some games, I think Palhinha would be vitally important for us. So I think it would be a really good season, really good signing for us if we were to get him on a season-long loan. It will help us maybe focus on other targets this window, and then next summer really focus and go big on that defensive midfielder. So I really like João Palhinha. I was a massive fan of him when he was at Fulham. Yeah, you got to take that he's probably going to pick up a few red cards each season, and he'll pick up a few suspensions because of the amount of bookings he gets. But I think what he'll give us is proper steel in the middle of the park, which I think is something that we're lacking.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think we are missing that kind of elite level aggression. I think Bentancur, Basuma, when they're at their best, I think we see good levels from them. Unfortunately, we haven't seen that too often. And I think as well, they get too often bullied, in my opinion, especially in specific games. And I think Palhinha would stop that. And I think he would add that extra steel that the midfield is missing. I just worry about like having a player that's a deep line. Like if we sign Palhinha, obviously, I think if you're just replacing Basuma with Palhinha, I don't have a problem with that massively, to be honest. I think that's a pretty good move. But if Frank is looking for a different kind of profile, then it's a different scenario. But I think, yeah, I agree with you. I think Palhinha, I would do it on a loan deal. I've got no problem with that signing. I think it's a good signing.
Would you do it if it was a 3-year deal?
Yeah, for a cheap deal, probably.
Yeah, 20 million, 3-year deal.
Probably do it.
Yeah.
I think a loan makes more sense, but I'd also, if it's a cheap permanent, I'll do it.
Yeah, me as well. And last but not least, we are obviously going to go to the daily Gibbs-White. As Fabrizio Romano says, the focus at Tottenham still remains to be closing in on Morgan Gibbs-White. And Alex Crook says that Forest owner Marinakis is hoping Man City come in with a bid to sign Morgan Gibbs-White, who told Marinakis at the end of last season he would only leave for a certain level of club. Marinakis does not believe Tottenham fit that category. Who the hell does this man think he is? He is the most shameless man in football right now, particularly in the Premier League. I can't believe what is actually coming out right now. And, you know, Alex Crook has actually been bang on the money on certain things in recent months. And Marinakis does not think Tottenham fit the category of a certain level of club. What is he smoking, mate? I know we're not on the level of Man City, and obviously they've been champions 4 times out of the last 5 years. But in terms of the size of the club Nottingham Forest are at this moment in time to Tottenham, yes, they might have finished above us last year, but it was the first time they finished above us, since the 90s probably, or maybe even before that, who knows. But Nottingham Forest to Tottenham is a massive, massive step up. We are the current Europa League champions. We are playing Champions League football. So Morgan Gibbs-White has accepted a deal to come to us. He's agreed personal terms. He wants to join Tottenham. Marinakis, wind your neck in, mate.
Stay in your lane. He thinks he one season above us, they can start competing with us and start talking to us. I understand they had a good season. Whoop-de-doo, you've sold Alanga for 55 million, one of your better players. Your best player, Gibbs-White, wants to leave. There's a reason you're in the position you are. I applaud Forest what they did last season. Fair play, they had a really good season, but seventh would be is a bad season for Tottenham. I know we finished 17th last season, but seventh would have been a bad season for us. Like, there are levels there. Like, just because you had a great season and finished seventh and bottled Champions League doesn't mean all of a sudden you're on the level playing field with Tottenham. Like, you need to realise where you are in the food chain. I think Marinakis has delusions of grandeur. And fair enough, he has ambition, I get it. But all of this, I don't want to sell to Tottenham because I think he should be going to a more elite level club, and like we're desperate for City to come in. Why are you bending over backwards for Man City? Why do you care that much that he goes to Man City over Tottenham? We're a different level of club to you, whether they like it or not. We're also a level above them. Like, in our worst season, we still got won Europa League and got Champions League in our worst season. That was us at our very worst. We're still in a better position than Forest, even in a season when we were diabolical. And in Forest's best ever season in 20 years, they finished 7th. All right, that's the level that they have to compete. Try finish 7th. Try finish in the top 7, 5, 6 years, 7 years in a row. Then you can chat to us.
Well, absolute Seamus.
You know what I mean?
These lot, Marinakis had to beg his way into the Europa League.
Exactly, he had to complain.
He had to beg his way into the Europa League this summer because everyone saying, Nottingham Forest dead set on, they're definitely going to finish 4th. They're definitely going to finish 4th, being in the top 4 all season, and they finish in the Conference League places. You're not even playing in a competition that you deserve to be in next season. That's the reality here. We're in the Champions League. We deserve to be there because we won a European competition.
They didn't get there by right.
No,
they got there by complaining.
Not. Exactly.
It's a very Arsenal way of getting in, isn't it?
100%.
Very
100%.
Marinakis is shameless, and this. What is this bollocks? He doesn't want to sell. What he's hoping City come in, so he's cowing to a team, the team who's run by a nation state, just so Tottenham can't get his best player because he feels like we're not a big enough club. Like, honestly, he has to get a grip.
And anyway, the reality is, I don't know if Man City are coming in. I think they've focused and got other targets through the door. And if Man City wanted him, they would have taken him already, and they would have got him at the back end of last season when they were heavily linked and personal terms were agreed. Right now, I still think Spurs are going to get this deal done, and I've been confident of it ever since it broke down, and I'm still confident of it now. I think we're going to take him, and we're going to shithouse Nottingham Forest every time we play them, singing for their star man. Go. But there's actually been some news coming out about Kobbie Mainoo in the last few minutes, of Graham Bailey saying that Man U are yet to reach an agreement with Kobbie Mainoo over a new deal. Mainoo has been in talks for over 12 months, and despite getting close last year, the two sides have still not agreed fresh terms. There have been links, some sort of links between Kobbie Mainoo and Spurs. Would you take Kobbie Mainoo at Spurs?
Absolutely. He was pictured in a Tottenham shirt when he was younger,
when he was
a kid. So he's fully COYS. He was a child. I'm going to go as far as say he was a childhood Spurs fan. That's fine with me. I love Mainoo. I think he's a brilliant player. What you got to remember, wasn't long ago. He was starting in the Euros for England and balling out. He was fantastic, and it seemed as though he could do no wrong when he first broke into the team under Ten Hag. He was phenomenal. He was scored that unbelievable goal against Wolves, if you remember, in that 4-3 win in one of his first games. Had a phenomenal performance in the final against Man City. I remember as well against Liverpool in a couple of league games that season. Was phenomenal.
Scored the winner in the cup, didn't he?
I think that was Diallo, but he scored. I think he scored an equaliser in the league game. I remember he did that. Yeah. He did that brilliant turn and like curled it into like Makeda. He did like Makeda goal. Obviously he's young, but when a guy like that comes available, for some reason last season wasn't great from him, in and out of the team, but obviously it was a very difficult season for Man United. I think he's a phenomenal talent. I think he's going to go on to become a brilliant player. I think he would be a fantastic addition to Tottenham. Kind of deep. I think he's the kind of player we could do with, a kind of deep line playmaker, can set the tone of a game. I think he's still developing that side, but I think that's the kind of player he's going to become, in my opinion. Obviously he's still young, but I would love it. I think it'd be a great signing.
How much do you reckon it will take to get him out of Manchester United with a year left in his deal?
You're probably looking at 50 million, probably.
Well, even with a year left,
they won't want to sell to us. He's came through their academies. They know how good he is, English as well. It's going to be a lot of money, probably.
But 50 million, because if he doesn't sign and he doesn't go anywhere, he's going to go free next summer.
Yeah, it's true. I don't know if they look, maybe 30. I'd be surprised if we can get him for 30. I'll be cheap.
If you could get him for under 50 million, that would be an unbelievable deal. Like 40, 35, 45, whatever it may be. If you can get Kobbie Mainoo out of Manchester United at Spurs for under 50 million, that would be an incredible deal to do. And it fills a hole in the squad as well.
Look, I'm not getting too excited about it, but I'd love it to happen.
Yeah, but why not test the waters here? If he's not agreeing a deal, why not test the waters?
Why isn't he agreeing a deal?
I don't know. Can't tell you that.
It must be wages.
You think it's wages, or you think that he's just disillusioned with life at Manchester United?
What, he broke into the team 2 years ago. He's a teenager. You think he's got too big for his boots already?
Maybe.
I doubt it. I doubt it. And he came through the academy. It must be wages. And if United aren't offering him enough wages, are Tottenham really going to be the ones to blow United out of the water with a wage packet?
Well, Man United are doing this cost-cutting thing at this moment.
That's also true.
So maybe Spurs are willing to put more wages down on the table at this moment.
But how much more?
I'm just seeing what he's on.
He's probably not on too much, I would assume. Or did he sign a contract recently?
He's all the way down. He's on 25 grand a week.
Yeah, right. But he's probably like, if you look at some of the players who are on 100, he's probably like, I want to be level parity with them, isn't he?
Yeah, Xerxes, Anthony,
yeah,
he's there's no reason why Spurs couldn't offer him 100 grand a week.
I mean, would we?
Why not?
Because are all our midfielders on that much?
I mean, Archie Gray's on about 70.
Who else is there? Bergvall.
Bergvall's just got a new contract, so I don't know what.
If you give Mainoo that, every player in our squad's going to want 100 grand a week.
Well, we gave Archie Gray 70 grand a week, so there's no reason why he can't be in and around that figure.
Yeah, 70. Just a bit up,
yeah, or just a bit above it.
I mean, Bergvall's going to immediately demand that. He's done
so much more than Archie Gray.
Sarr's going to immediately demand it. Bergvall will immediately demand it. Bentancur, I don't know how much he's on.
70.
Yeah.
Lucas Bergvall's on 65.
Okay,
now.
but
Archie Gray's on 75.
I don't know how much Mainoo wants, but if it's around, I reckon, maybe he wants even more than 100. But if it's 100, let's say if it's 100, then they're all going to want a pay rise. Everyone, all our midfielders.
Well, they probably should get a pay rise, to be honest. But I think that Kobbie Mainoo is worth that. I think he's worth between 70 and 100. Whether it's like 70, 75 with good bonuses in there, and he's willing to accept that, and that's Mainoo and not willing to go that far, that's in line with our squad.
If he's willing to do that, then it's not a problem. But United aren't willing. I don't know what so they're not willing to give him. I don't know what they're willing to give him. I don't know what the hold up is, but it must be very significant if they can't agree a deal.
Yeah, it's true. I'm just trying to see if there's anything in the article about it, but there doesn't seem to be.
Anyone on the chat know what the talk is about how much he wants?
Surely he's not demanding.
Someone says he wants 170.
Surely not. Surely he's not demanding 170. If he's demanding 170 at his age, it just makes no sense. Why would he be demanding 170?
Because because he's comparing it to the other players in the squad. Where would 170 place him?
At the same level as like Mbeumo, Cunha, Harry Maguire.
And at one point he was very important to the team, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he's not like... First of all, he's not like...
Someone said 180.
I think it's ridiculous if he's demanding that. He's not going to get that anywhere. He's not going to get that at Manchester United or anywhere else that he transfers at.
How much
he's at in his career.
Who's below that band of Mbeumo, Cunha?
Shaw,
exactly.
Mazraoui.
Shaw, Mazraoui, Martinez, Diallo. Like, why should he be on any less than any of those players?
Because they're all of a certain age where they've got a lot more experience.
Correct.
Kobbie Mainoo is just a young player coming up.
Yes, but if you're Mainoo and you've broken into the team, you were just playing for the Euros, starting for England in the final, right?
Yeah.
And the semi-final.
Yeah.
He's a fixture in the team. He's a very important player for the team. It doesn't matter his age. Why should he be getting paid any less than players like Luke Shaw, who are nowhere near as important as him? That's probably how his agent is. His agent wouldn't be doing his job if he wasn't demanding the pay parity of these kind of players.
Luke Shaw is a very experienced player. Like, he's been on 150 because of when they signed him, and he was starting every week, and he was doing decent for an amount of time, and he was England's starting left back, right? Kobbie Mainoo has had 5 appearances for England?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's just starting out in the game. Like,
I agree, but this is how it works in this day and age.
Amad Diallo is on 120. That's more in line of what maybe Kobbie Mainoo can get at the top bracket. 170, 180 is absolutely preposterous.
No, I don't disagree with you. I'm just talking about what the arguments his agents are going to make, and I can tell you this isn't uncommon in the game. And according to one of the comments, saying the United Stand reported that United offered him 120, and he turned it down.
Well, if that's true, then like he ain't getting any higher from anywhere else. He's not.
I agree. It's probably his agent trying to get him pay parity with these other players. And whether that's right or this is why I'm not getting too excited about the deal, put it this way.
But I think, maybe we can pull on his heartstrings Spurs shirt when he was younger.
Come on, you were born to play for Tottenham.
Come home,
he only
Kobbie.
wanted Tottenham.
Exactly.
He only wanted
Tottenham.
Tottenham.
He'll play for Tottenham for less.
There is an epidemic of deals this summer saying, I only wanted this, I only wanted this. Like, it's never happened.
Granit Xhaka only wanted Sunderland.
I don't believe that for a second.
What is that all about?
Every deal now is, I only wanted this. Gyökeres only wanted Arsenal. It all started with Kudus, I swear. But what is it? Is this just like a PR thing from all the clubs, like saying when you sign for us, you've got to say you only wanted us. Like, this is how we've got to play it. Like, it's become this thing now. Every signing has to be you only wanted that club.
Yeah, but I've seen it a lot before this summer as well. Like, it's not the first summer that we've seen it around.
No, it's not the first time we've seen a specific thing, but it seems to be every transfer at the moment.
Well, like 2 or 3 transfers.
No, every transfer I'm seeing right now is like Walker Peters. I only wanted West Ham. Like, what is going like?
Well, Walker Peters only wanted West Ham because it was either West Ham or Besiktas.
I know. I'm not saying. I think all these things is all rubbish when they say it. I think none of them are true, but it's like a PR spin from every club signing a player at the moment.
It is true. What they're saying is true that he only wanted it's because it's pitted against the other teams that have been in for the player. So I mean, it does make sense.
I guess.
Because like you can only want what's in front of you, right? And let's say Gyökeres had a choice between Manchester United and Arsenal. Obviously, he only wanted Arsenal. Kyle Walker-Peters had a choice of Besiktas or West Ham. He only wanted West Ham. Of course, he only wanted West Ham.
I know, but the way the clubs portray it is as if like there would have been no chance would ever go to anyone else. Doesn't matter who's in for him.
Yeah,
and I don't believe any of that.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, it's just the reality of the situation is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, Kobbie Mainoo, latest links to Spurs. Let's see what happens with that one. But that is all we have for you today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.